Hey, my name is Barb Herrera, and this is Health at Any Cost. I actually, on the 22nd, 3 years ago, I weighed 405 pounds, and now today's April 24th of 2025, I weigh 125. So I've lost 280 pounds. And all of it's usually really, really good. But if you're looking at me now, you see it has not been a good week. I had cancer surgery 2 days ago to remove 3 pieces of cancer, one here, one on my back, and one on the back of my thigh, which is what you're looking at on the thumbnail. On the night of surgery, the 22nd was surgery. On that night, I sat down to go to the bathroom, and when I got up, a big splash of blood came out of my incision that had been closed with Dermabond. The incision was probably about 2 inches, 2.5 inches wide, and closed with Dermabond. Well, what seems to have happened, what I did, well, let me tell you what I did. First, I grabbed a washcloth and held it tight. I was a midwife for a long time. I'm a retired midwife. I was a doula for a long time. So blood doesn't scare me. But I pressed it and put pressure on it, and then went and called the doctor, and doctor on call. It was 10 o'clock at night. And before she called me back, my surgeon was not on call, but before she called back, I cleaned up what I could and put a whole bunch of Band-Aids. I've got some big Band-Aids and little Band-Aids, and I crammed them on there and just put as much pressure as I could on it. Then when it seemed to have slowed, I put on the tightest leggings that I have to apply pressure continuously. It hurt so bad. And this is one thing I wanted to tell you. No pity. You are not allowed to be pity for me. I know you're sorry, blah, blah, blah. I know all that. And I know you care, but please do not feel sorry for me. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this specifically to talk about what can happen when you lose a great deal of weight and there's sagging skin. There's a part of me that's so ashamed of having been so fat before, that I have so much skin that will never be removed. And I know I've talked about the fat removal, how it's not going to be removed because I don't want it, because it's expensive, because there'll be downtime. But the plastic surgeon, the reconstructive surgeon, told me that unless I was clean from cancer surgery for at least a year, but probably 2, she wouldn't even consider doing surgery. So even if I wanted it, I couldn't get it. So for all these surgeries that I have coming up, I've had 2 surgeries in the past 2 months to remove 5 different pieces of cancer. Malignant melanoma, stage 2 for some, for 3 of them. 2 of them were Nevi with margins. Without margins. Whichever one, he had to dig around it. He had to guess and see how big around it is. I can't think right now. So the doctor told me when I talked to her at when she called me back day before yesterday, that night, she told me to come in the morning. So I came in the morning and spent a lot of the day there while they tried to figure out what to do with my skin and the incision. They couldn't suture it, which is what, from now on, I'm going to say if there are any wrinkles anywhere, because there's no wrinkles up here. There's not really wrinkles on my back. But on the back of my thigh, which is where this is, you can see the drapes. Sorry, got my mini rag to cry on. You can see the drapes. So I'm going to ask that I asked her to put it in my chart to please ask for sutures from now on when I have surgery in any of those parts. So trying to figure out what to do. What we ended up doing, I had her take pictures so that I could show what it looked like. But what we did was she had pulled the skin, and she had somebody else pull the other part of my skin. And then she put more of the Dermabond on. She put like 3 toothpaste layers, like one right over the incision, one on each side of the incision, let it dry. And then she took a really big Band-Aid. They stretched my skin and plopped it on so that it would lay flat. So here we are the next day, and it's still flat. It hadn't been 24 hours yet, but almost. And it's still flat. Not allowed to take a shower. I've got to do sponge baths. Not allowed to get it wet. Only allowed to walk a mile. Not that I feel like walking at all at the moment, I must say. I mean, I was all, when can I go walking yesterday? Well, today I'm in so much pain. I had, you'll see the bracelet that I have is for Exparel. You have to wear a bracelet saying that you had Exparel for 4 days. Exparel is a wonderful, it's like lidocaine, but it's not lidocaine, bupivacaine. I can never remember what it's called. And they actually inject it into the nerves, into the open incision while you're under anesthesia. And it lasts for about 72 hours and you don't have any pain. Like the other ones, this one's starting to hurt. The one on my back is starting to hurt, even though we're not at 72 hours yet. But once the one opened on my leg, it was all over. The Exparel was gone. Exparel. If you ever have invasive surgery, ask for Exparel because it's the bomb. Last time I had no pain, no ibuprofen, nothing. Sorry, my throat is still weird from anesthesia. I am 11 years clean from opiates, so I do not take any opiates. And I'm doing ibuprofen right now is what I'm doing. And it's barely covering it, but it allows me to at least lay down a little bit on my side. I have a towel rolled up and put under my hip, under my right hip, so that my thigh is lifted off of the bed. If I lay on my left side, then it affects my back and it affects my chest because that's on my left side. The incision is on my right side of the other side. Yeah, that's Queen back here. Queen is they are my muse. Freddie Mercury, I have to say it real quick. Freddie Mercury worked until 6 months before his death. He was not even able to stand up and went into the studio to record. And he recorded when he was so sick that he would lay on the soundboard and shoot a couple shots of vodka, and then he would sing 3 lines. And he knew that he would be gone before they put that album together. It's called Made in Heaven. And they did. And so they recorded everything that they could from Freddie. He wanted to work until the very end. The last song that they recorded was Mother Love. And Freddie one day said, I can't finish. I hurt too much. I need to go. No, he didn't say I hurt too much. He said, I need to go rest. I'll be back to do this, because he never complained about hurting. He never complained about being sick or going to die. Nobody has any recollection of him ever feeling sorry for himself at all. So I whine and I look to Freddie to help me get through some things that are really hard. And this is nothing like AIDS. This is nothing like AIDS. I don't have cancer throughout my body. It's just all over my skin. I already have another one that needs to be removed. We found it when we were doing surgery. And I asked the doctor, can you just take it out now? And he said, I can't. I have to do a biopsy first. And he said the dermatologist has to do that. So I have to go back. And part of what's so bad is that I had to be off the Mounjaro for another 11 days. This time it was 10 days last time. And this time on Easter, which was 2 days before the surgery, I was on soft foods. And I went for a walk, and I walked by Wendy's, and my feet walked into Wendy's. And I had a medium fry And then I came home and there was candy on the table, and I grabbed a handful of M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, and 2 Reese's cups, little ones, and I ate them, and then I cried. I was so disappointed about that. And then I started thinking, in 2 months, I've had 2 surgeries. In 2 months, I had been off my Mounjaro for 21 days out of 56. And then all of a sudden, all of my guilt just vanished. I was like, okay, well, just chill, Barb. It's to be expected. I have another video that I'm going to make about what happens when you go off Mounjaro. And I called it, What Happens When You Go Off Mounjaro? And it says, you eat. I'm really proud of myself for not eating more. I wanted more. I wanted to order a Pizza Hut pizza, and I don't even like Pizza Hut pizza, but I wanted to order a giant pizza and just scarf it down. I had no satiation. I could have eaten 4 more medium fries, large fries, and not been satiated at all. But I didn't. So I'm proud of myself for that. Once I figured out why I was so hungry, I was able to put it in context and say, okay, so surgery was 2 more days, and I'd be able to give my shot that day. And I did. I came home from the hospital and I gave myself a shot. And now we're 2 days later, and I feel so much better. I don't have that horrible, horrible compulsion to eat. When I'm on 15 milligrams, and I've been on 15 milligrams for about 18 months now, I'm going on 19 months. And I've been in maintenance for 4.5 months now. No intention of going off, no intention of lowering it. If I ever had any thought of lowering it or going off, this experience let me know exactly what would happen. And it would be, I would get fat again and sick again. Diabetes is in remission. My chronic kidney disease has improved. Liver disease is gone. My heart failure is repaired. Just everything. I can walk. I couldn't even walk for 10 years. And now I can walk 7-8 miles a day. So when they told me I could only walk a mile, it just feels like I'm being put down again. And I don't want to be put down. I want to keep going. Anyway, I just wanted to let you all know what was going on. And I love you all. And, we're all going to have times like this, whether it's during our Mounjaro time or our GLP-1 time, or whether it's before. You can relate, and afterwards, and we all have tough times, right? So thank you all very much for listening. I love you all. You know I do. Thanks lots. Bye.